Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. My name is Jared. This is Engineering the Markets. It is May 7th, 2021. Just making sure that we're all good to go here. Looks like we are. And let's get right into it. All right, so as it is Friday, we want to take a look at where the market has been over the past week and just kind of note some key information that the market is trying to give us. I would say that the SPY overall is looking fairly healthy on its uptrend. We've seen periods of volatility throughout this week, mostly throughout the NASDAQ, but from the perspective of the SPY, not only have we held on the daily ranges, we've actually maintained a lot of these upper ranges quite nicely, but we're also seeing relative strength as of yesterday's session. We can see that the SPY overall like to hold this upper range. And whenever the SPY did hold that upper range, we see that once again, we're getting some upside testing of that range. We barely had that 1 day of pullback. And now we're actually potentially looking to break this upper range on this test. You can see that on shorter time frames where the market was volatile, losing key levels, but was immediately brought back into these upper ranges. We know that our general area of support was set back in Monday's session about 2 weeks prior. We saw some volatility and chop in between, but overall, markets held this area and were able to push into the upper levels, which is pretty much at all-time highs at this point. When we shift over to our weekly perspective, we also just want to note that throughout the past couple of weeks, the SPY ultimately has not done much of anything in regards to price. We've seen the previous 3 week candle, a 3 week ago candle on the weekly, open right around 419. We saw that test of roughly the 420.50 area, and that was rejected. And then we had the volatility this week, which led us to an open and close nearing the same price. So as we get into our Friday session, we're going to see if the market finally wants to give us some additional directional bias, or if we simply need to consolidate additional time in this range, as we have been doing over the past couple of weeks. So we remain aware of the SPY and the fact that there is strength in certain sectors, but those sectors do not include technology. So as we're looking at our cues, we see that the picture is quite different. We have these upper ranges. These have been lost at this time. And now we are consolidating in an area slightly below this range, sitting fairly close to this previous resistance turn support. We could see multiple tests that were done both in after hour and pre-market sessions, leading to roughly a 325 resistance level. This so far has been holding, but overall, the tech and QQQ sectors have not recovered in the same way that the SPY has. When we look at lower time frames, what we do like to see, however, is the bulls are defending the more aggressive double bottom structures in this range. And what they're starting to form is additional range definition, where we can see that this area and this level inside of this larger range needs to be defended in order for bullishness to continue. Otherwise, similar to losing this upper range that we came from, we could easily come much lower to 325 to 324 areas and start to test those very deep support zones that used to be prior resistance. Let's see, yeah. So y'all are not seeing the pointer. I think it's due to the fact that I'm sharing just my window. I am somewhat limited as I am on travel, but overall, I think we can mark a few things here, and that'll supplement what I'm using. So we can see this support zone being formed in the form of a double bottom that reacted quite strongly in yesterday's session. And we're coming back into resistance, which once again reacted. And that's seen on the daily chart where this upper zone has been support of the upper range, and we did lose that on volatility. So we are simply defining a lower range at this time, and ultimately there will be a subsequent winner of the range, and that will facilitate itself into some sort of breakout or breakdown of this lower range. So with technology continuing to consolidate in these lower ranges, let's look to see if there is opportunity in other areas outside of the SPY. One area that I'm keeping a close watch on is the IWM. And what we saw in the IWM is a potential reaction met with high volume on a rising trend line. Now, we had marked this area previously because it represented a back test of this overall consolidation and compression, sort of a pennant structure on the daily. We got a breakout and a back test. We also saw that the rising trend line met roughly in the same area. And what's great about these areas of convergence is if you get the right reaction and the right setup, it can facilitate multiple time frames and multiple interested market participants to essentially confirm the thesis that you already have. So for example, if you're a bull, you're looking for the right zone to get back in. And if you're a bear, you may be looking to take profit because you know that bulls are waiting to essentially buy this potential trend line support. So that can lead to essentially the same thought process across the board, and those market participants will show themselves in that session if that is to be true. So we have some potential for a bounce in the IWM. We did see a fairly strong intraday session, closing at the highs and also starting to gap above some of the previous sessions, which can lead to, once again, this sort of breakout structure where we do have a trend line of the previous pullback, and we're looking for this to once again break out and gain some momentum to the upside. So for those who are more aggressive, you're looking at this daily and potentially an intraday setup, and you're expecting this pullback to break out. If you're less aggressive, you're maybe waiting for that to actually occur and then buying the next pullback, which would essentially be another higher low in the daily chart structure. So opportunity in the IWM as long as the overall market continues its strength, and we will see just how far they can come off of this area of confluence. And then finally, one thing we discussed yesterday as a potential breakout zone excuse me, is the Dow. And what I'm using here is the DIA ETF for the diamonds. I keep forgetting I can't use my pointer. But overall structure here is that while the market was volatile in the past couple of weeks, the Dow put in a nice range that essentially led to consolidation over time. So the price correction was very mild in this ETF. We saw just a general building of energy as market participants were essentially waiting for the next trend continuation. And we did see the potential breakout signal occur both yesterday and in the prior session on a test of that upper range. And with the Dow, we know that certain sectors are continuing their upper strength. They are both outperforming the overall markets and leading to a very healthy sector rotation structure in the SPY and things like the Dow. These are going to be our sectors like financials, which have once again printed a new all-time high. And this is on continued bullish momentum and continued bullish volume to the upside. Keep a watch for this to pull back at some point as we are getting extended from our 20-day moving average. But overall, this breakout has continued to remain strong, not offering much in the way of a pullback as the lower ranges offered that sort of consolidation. And positionally, a bull should have been situating their position closer to the moving average. We see things like industrials continue their upper trend, coming off of the 20 and facilitating sort of a bullish drift. I will say that the volume spike here, we essentially want to see, is this continuation volume or is this potential for a trend change in the short term? And that can lead to our next swing high into a pullback, and we'll be looking for a support zone to offer a bounce opportunity. Sectors like XLP, consumer staples, once again printing a new all-time high. We can see how there was this risk of a double top. And we did see a deeper pullback back into the lower range. But that pullback was met once again by buying, and that led to a new all-time high. And then some sectors that are generally just offering buy setups. They have not necessarily made new all-time high or relative highs, but we're seeing continued momentum. These are going to be sectors like communications, which is acting as a stronger growth sector than some of the other technology-based sectors and ETFs. We see that the swing high was met with a large gap up on earnings. That gap up was sold into, and we are once again closing above this previous swing high. So pull back to the 20. We do have risk definition based on the volatility we saw this week, and we can see some strength returning to communications, and that's seen with, once again, stocks like Facebook and Google being the main candidates in this sector. Energy continuing its upward climb. We've been talking about energy pretty extensively, and we know that energy was an opportunity for a retracement pullback. If you were, essentially looking to enter bullish, this was your area of interest. You were defining your risk based on some of these support zones, and you're getting nice follow through throughout the rest of throughout this week. So we're seeing that continuation breakout. And then some of our smaller sectors continue to either hold or continue to be strong. Things like materials, very strong bullish momentum and upward climb. Metals, very strong showing yesterday, one of our strongest sectors overall, with things like gold and silver breaking out. And once again, continuation in metals. And things like U.S. home construction sitting at or near their all-time highs, potentially offering a little bit of resistance. And once again, pullback is likely next in the probability of this ETF. So We know that a ton of our sectors are strong. And then we look at technology, similar to the Qs, holding in near the 50, so definitely a deeper pullback, but overall not losing this lower zone quite yet, which leads to an overall strong market if everything is moving in the same general direction. We have XLY, which is consumer discretionaries, also holding in slightly stronger than technology. And then healthcare, which technically fits into strong sector getting stronger. Nice showing yesterday. We saw another push off of the 20, and we're essentially coming to test this all-time high, which so far the structure here does look facilitative of that. You can see just how much volume has been placed in previous sessions, and that volume has been met with rising prices. So as we sit on Friday's session, some opportunities that we want to keep in mind. Essentially, as Friday opens, we want to see, does the SPY simply want to gap into this upper range and start to break out even further? Since we are sitting a mere 50 cents away from all-time highs, with a strong push in yesterday's close, I certainly would be looking for some of these pre-market ranges to hold and looking for that all-time high breakout on strong volume. We're also looking for things like technology to be facilitative of that breakout. If we see weakness in tech, I think SPY overall will have a challenging time to get through its all-time high. And with the Q sitting at resistance, we do want to see at the very least a breakthrough of resistance and sort of a hold or just strong showing in technology today. That would lead to either other sectors following the trend, or once again, if technology becomes the leader, are we seeing pullback weakness in our strong sectors? And that would once again lead to a choppy or range-bound SPY while QQQ stands out on the intraday session. So, the objective here is that the burden of proof is on the technology sector for SPY to continue its upward climb. Our other sectors have been holding just fine throughout this consolidation period. And if those other sectors start to pull back, then technology needs to pick up the slack in order for SPY to hold. If all sectors start to sell or just show relative weakness, then I would not expect a new all-time high in SPY, or maybe a very weak breakout met with resistance. And at that point, we'll be looking for more correlated states of every sector starting to pull back and sell intraday at the same time. The SPY has some support to use in its previous ranges, but are we seeing correlation to the upside or correlation to the downside? That is the question that we're trying to answer in today's session. Additionally, since it is Friday, there are a number of option series that are starting to expire today. We've been slowly starting to layer in different option criteria and things to watch out for whenever trading intraday. And Friday is a good session to start to look at the 0 data expiration series of stocks that have large market caps for the index that you may be interested in. So for example, if you're interested in looking at something like Apple, you would navigate to Apple's option chain. You would see things like the 7 May 21 series, which is going to be the 0 data expiration series of Apple. And you're going to note where is the open interest and where is the volume today. I would say for Apple, it's pretty clear that the whole dollar numbers, so 130 and 140, have a lot of overall open interest. I know y'all can't see my pen, but you can see the open interest roughly in the 60,000 contracts still open. You can also see that the 135 is very similar. So Apple does like to define its option risk roughly around the $5 to $10 marks. And you can also see that throughout the lower strikes, which are going to be the in the money calls, there is not a lot of risk definition. So it seems as if a lot of the upper risk for the call side is actually out of the money, and therefore potentially more of a bullish skew if we were to break away from 130 today. That could lead us into these lower open interest areas in the option market, and on momentum we can see just a pull away from 130, which is going to be just like the volume profile, more of a VPOC sort of scenario. Sort of your highest value sits at 130 and 135. Similarly, you want to look on the put side and see if that's also true for puts. And I would say that on the 130s, there is significantly less put open interest, but we do see that some of the out of the money puts, things like the 123s, do have a slightly elevated open interest. So on downside momentum, we do have a lot of value to get through in order to break through things like 125. But I would expect if we ever did have a session closer to something like 125, you would be looking at 123 as a value zone for Apple. Now, obviously, the direction has to match the analysis of the volume and the open interest on this, but you can see where market participants are putting in the risk, and that allows you to define where you expect this market to sit and balance itself out throughout today's session. Now, one thing that's really interesting about Friday sessions is you have this concept of option pinning that can occur. The topic of option pinning is a fairly complicated one in that there are multiple scenarios that can play themselves out with an option pinning strategy. But the basic idea is that just like large pools of liquidity inside of something like the level 2, the price tends to be drawn to these areas. And while we do see some of that inside of the actual equity, you'll see things like 130 with large liquidity pools. Sometimes you can also see them in the option chain. And whenever you're preparing to trade a highly liquid stock with a great option chain volume, you may want to essentially just look and see where are your hot spots in the option chain on the date of expiration. Because market participants like to keep that price close to those areas, balance out the fact that buyers and sellers are trying to roll their position into the next series or further out in time. And essentially, price can have a challenging time getting away from that, which leads to that pinning structure. If we ever do get away from those high value zones, just like in volume profile theory, a move away from value is sort of that range expansion. And if you have low volume, or in the case of options, low open interest, you will essentially move from a high open interest area, something with a high value zone, and then you'll move into a low value zone like a pocket. And that can lead to our sort of trend or just momentum based trade structures that we get intraday. So option theory and the concepts that we try to look at throughout the overall sessions, those are going to play in the same way, whether you're looking at options or whether you're looking at things like the level 2 and volume profile. The concepts are roughly the same. The thing that makes options more powerful is the fact that today is the day where this series has to be managed. And therefore, we will see reactions based on market participants wanting to be in balance in order to roll their risk into further series of option chains. So, one additional way to just layer this into your trading is just note those value zones. Know that if we start to move away from them, where are we headed? Where's the next target? And combining that with your technical analysis and your support and resistance on the chart, you can really get a nice, powerful target and start to build some different strategies based around certain concepts within option pinning theory. So that should be about it for today. Overall, it is Friday. We will see a little bit of that additional option volatility and just sort of rebalancing of price. But markets overall are staying healthy. And when you look at different sectors, you want to say which sectors are strong, which sectors are weak. Are things balancing themselves out with sector rotation? Or are we getting a full court press with everything going in one direction? That can really give you a sense of how strong some of these trends are in the index products. And if you expect a breakout, you definitely want to see a lot of sectors pointing in the same direction as your breakout or breakdown theory is going to play itself out. So that said, it's Friday. Obviously go into today with a nice, safe mindset. If you've had a great week throughout this volatile market, congratulations. If you've been listening in, we've had some great follow through in things like gold and silver. I'll let y'all pull up those respective charts, but lots of follow through on the shorter time frames with gold and silver, nice ignition bars outside of the range. And we're getting some decent follow through in the pre-market session. So I still think metals are a great place to look. There's still opportunity on some of these pullbacks to sort of get into this changing trend. And we'll see just how far that carries us in a product that you may not necessarily be looking at each and every day. So that said, my name is Jared. This has been Engineering the Markets. Have a safe rest of the training session, and we'll catch up on Monday's open. Stay tuned for pre-market prep, and obviously trade safe out there. We'll talk to y'all later.
All right. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the pre-market prep. I hope everyone's having an amazing morning. Hope you had a great day yesterday. Welcome. Norm today is actually out. He's doing some volunteer work with his son's school, so we won't be having him on today. But either Peter or Thor will join us a little bit later. But as they do that, guys, let's go through some of the top plays from yesterday. So let's get into those. Let's look at our watch list, starting with Plug this morning. Yesterday, they had just an amazing day. We had a lot of stuff that sold off pretty nice yesterday. This is one of them here. Oh, no sound on our chat. Hold on a sec. Let me check that. Can you guys hear me now? Yes, they can hear me now. Perfect. All right, so they can hear me. That is good. Look who's here. Our buddy Peter. How you doing today?
Good morning, Carlos. I am great. How are you?
Doing good, man. Never better. Doing good. Glad to have you covered for Thor today. As I was mentioning a little bit earlier, Thor is not Thor, excuse me, Norm. Norm is actually volunteering at his son's school, so he won't be joining us this morning. But we do have, I do. If you guys saw the Twitter picture he sent yesterday, look at that. How about that? Huh? Love the shirt. I know Megan has some comments about that, but love the shirt. Love
Wow.
what's going on. Norm looks good here, man. He looks really good. I think
Wow.
looks like he's losing weight and eating very well at it too. So looking
I'm
nice.
surprised they agreed to serve him in that shirt, his big rib.
Oh man,
He's,
so good
he's
stuff.
taken he's taken Andrew for ribs, I think, every time he's come down to Texas.
Oh
So
yes, Andrew eats when he's down in Texas. I think he eats more meat than he does the entire year. So he's gonna be in Texas, so he'll definitely be doing that. All right, guys, let's get to it. So we're looking at here at Plug this morning for yesterday. Actually, again, a lot of sell off yesterday. Plug was one of them. Had a beautiful pop. It looked like it wanted to get going here, but then it completely started dropping. Did lose the low of the day here, and it's just a beautiful. Oh, sorry, I'm not showing you guys the. I'm looking at the top chart, which is for me only. The bottom one for you guys. Here we go. So lost the low of the day here, and then just continue to drop. Just a beautiful drop here on Plug. Very, very nice short. Just amazing. Then you did get a little bit of a bounce here, beautiful double bottom between 11 and 12, and then back towards the VWAP, and then from there just chopped around. So again, Plug traded very well. A lot of opportunities on Plug yesterday. Here's NKLA. Also, again, similar situation like Plug. Did get this initial drop. It does try to recover and then just slams right back down, guys. And it was a beautiful short the entire day. Never really recovered like Plug did. This one just continued to drop here. Next, we did have Piton. Piton also popped up a bit. This one was weird, though. It was very, very choppy. I think it was because of the earnings coming up or whatever the news was. But if you look at it after hours, this is after hours here, after the close. It did get some significant moves here. It did get quite some volume, and today they're up 6%. So today might be interesting on what's going on there. And I believe that was earnings. I don't want to don't quote me just yet. Yeah, here it is. After hours earnings yesterday. Today they're up 6%, so that will definitely be on our list this morning. mRNA also a little bit choppy at the start. They give you a couple of pops here, but in between those pops, right here and here, it didn't trade very well. So you can see very, very choppy. So again, not all great there. They did though. I think they closed their entire gap yesterday in those two pops. So they gapped down. They gapped down pretty big here, and they were able to just close the entire gap yesterday, and now today they're up another 3.4. So pretty interesting the way they're moving there. OCGN was another one we had on our list as well, and if we look at the 5-minute on this one, also did not trade all that well. Hold on, let me get you the action. Here it is. A little bit all over the place on OCGN. Great for scalping opportunities. It did give you a nice opening range breakup on the 5-minute. Then from there, it just got very, very choppy and unstable. So very difficult to trade unless you caught this nice pop here or short over here. Thor usually likes these type of shorts. He'll catch it here once he gets to extend it and catch it on the way down. So that could have been a good opportunity there as well. FSLY, another one that also kept dropping. Brian called this on. We were trading live. It just continued to to just leak here, guys. Lost this 46.07, which was the low of the pre-market. And once you see that, once it loses that, it just holds on to this 9 moving average. Does test the 20 here, but cannot stay above that. That's a good sign that this thing wants to continue to head down, and it did just that there. So pretty good stuff happening there. Again, a lot of sell-off yesterday. Interested to see what's going to happen today as we close out the week. Peter, I know you're as as our doctor would say that you're the sixth man off the bench here. What do we got for the market pulse today? What's happening?
We're reaching deep into the roster to put me up here. That's all right. Well, look, we do have a couple of things on the economic calendar today. In fact, we've already had the initial non-farm payroll and the unemployment rate that was released this morning, and neither one looks good, but the market doesn't seem to care so far. So we'll see what else happens. There is a Fed speaker, but it's not the main one. Fed President Tom Barkin is speaking at 9, and we've got wholesale inventories at 10. I don't expect the market to really care. So with those activities, the SPY has been, like yesterday was a surprise. It really looked like we were going to get a big sell-off, and that it was going to be a terrible day. And in the end, we ended up not so bad, right? It ended up a pretty good day at the end of it, and that was reflected in a lot of the stocks I was trading where they didn't act as expected. So guys, anything goes today. Like, who knows what's going to happen? We are back at a point of all-time high, and we just can't seem to keep this market down. So I would just say be careful and watch the technical trends. Let the stocks tell you what they're doing. Don't try and anticipate, because you might come in. It's okay if you've got a view as to where things are going, but I'm telling you, I have been wrong every single day this week. Viacom yesterday I was sure was going to go up. It did not, right? And AMD, same type of thing. So, earnings are not giving us much of an indication of where things are going. As Carlos pointed out, we got some more earnings today, and I don't know. I mean, it means that they're going to be in play, but it doesn't mean we know which way they're going to go. So let's get into them and let's see what's moving.
Absolutely. All right, guys, let's jump into our watch list here. I'm going to go ahead and delete everything we have here on our rows, and we'll make brand new rows for today's watch list. So quite a bit in the green, just a little bit in the red this morning. We'll see what we got going on. So here, Roku, we haven't looked at Roku in quite some time. They are gapping up to this morning 8.7 with 1.7 million shares traded. So this is definitely in play. I don't see any crazy movements after hours yesterday or this morning. Excuse me, I'm looking at TRY. No wonder. Hold on. Here we go. There we go. There's Roku now. So Roku here, they're up 10.7, 255,000 shares traded. Again, they've just been getting kicked here pretty bad, guys. Just look at every single day in here in the red. Even on their gap up days, they're selling right back down. So it hasn't been pretty for them. Today, they're up 10.7. Norm, looks like, I'm sorry, Norm. Peter, looks like earning last night after hours.
I'll answer it either. I consider it a compliment if you're calling me Norm. So, but yeah, some earnings in a couple of different areas, but Roku is definitely one of them. They had good numbers, and it seems to be carrying so far. But like I said, just keep in mind there may be a theme here, because so far the companies where they've had good earnings, they don't act as you expect, right? Great earnings, stock drops. So, I'm not sure. It's great that Roku's sort of up a little bit, or up 10% today. At the open, just be careful.
Yeah. We sure will. So Roku, guys, going to be on here 267,000 to up 10.4 this morning. Let's see where that's going to take us today. Next, we have TLRY. This one, it is up 8.1 this morning, and they are again also been getting slammed the last couple of days. A little bit of a pop here, some good volume, 8.1 million shares traded. It hasn't been pretty to trade though lately, so I'm not sure what we're going to get out of it today. Is there any news on this, Peter? Anything that is causing this?
It's not. There's no new news exactly. Their merger completed a couple of days ago, if you remember, with Aurora Cannabis, which makes them one of the bigger players in the market. So that was causing some movement. The only thing that's new is that they are actually starting. They're listed on the Toronto Stock Exchange in Canada here, which just means the fund may be over. Dual listed stocks tend to. Oh, sorry, Afria. Thank you. Well, you're right.
Hey, I think it's like an aircraft or something, right?
Yeah. Anyways, with dual listed stocks, it often makes them a little jumpier and a little less predictable. So we'll see. I mean, the Canadian stock market is significantly smaller than the U.S., which means that Tilray may not take significant note, but we'll see what happens.
All right, we'll see what happens. I'm going to put here as a possible. I do like the volume here. I like the fact they're extended towards the downside. Maybe they're looking for some support here to find and get something going. So TRY, I love the volume 1.8 this morning. Here is SY. This one is up 7.1 right now. Their pre-market action is not looking good at all. Only 169,000 shares traded. They are not low flow, but they're at 30 million, so a little bit on the lower side of things, and their daily is just brutal. This does not look good at all. Very light on the volume. So again, I don't trust this pop here. I don't trust this pre-market action to trade very well. So we'll skip on this one. Piton, I think, is in play, guys. Very, very good the last couple of days. Huge drop 2 days ago. Yesterday did recover a bit. We did get some action in the pre-market, in the after hours yesterday. Let's see how that's going to play out today. Again, up 6.2. Volume is at 532,000 shares traded, so that looks good. Daily looks good. What does not look good is this pre-market action, right? But that's typical Piton. They tend not to put in the best pre-market action. Let's just hope that it gets a little better. Is it sound choppy over in the chat room? It is. All right. Let's see if we can figure that out, because we got that yesterday too. So give me 1 second, guys. Let me refresh. We'll come back in. YouTube, you should be fine. You're not going to lose anything. How about on YouTube, guys? You guys hear me choppy at all? Is everything okay there?
You sound good over here, but obviously I'm pre-chat room.
Yeah.
Pre-chat room.
All right. All right, so good on YouTube. So it's just our chat. So let's try this again. We're going to come in here and open up the mic one more time over in the chat. So just reset the chat room. Let me get the screens for you guys as well. Hopefully that is better.
Look, well, Carlos is working on that. Couple things, guys. We mentioned SY a minute ago. It does not look good right now. It's one of those fun ones I find. So young, the company out of China. There was one of those hit reports from a short seller that was basically denouncing the company, and they refuted it. It was Blue Orca Capital that put out a report on them. And they said, no, we're a great company. We're going to buy our own stock. So I love it when the fight goes on like that. They're trying to demonstrate, their own value by repurchasing their stock, which is a little bit of an empty gesture. Depending on the structure of the company, that may not be that meaningful, but it's a good signal. Peloton is another one that I'd be really cautious trading today. Obviously, we've had the headwind pushing it down of the bad news of them recalling their treadmills, but then they have good earnings, which usually, again, is something that rises with stocks. So I expect to be a little uncertainty in Peloton, which means it could be choppy. And with it, what is it now? It's half the price that it was a couple of months ago.
Oh, yeah, even more probably, Yep.
But the spread would be the same. The spread is about the same it was when it was a $160 company. So I have not traded it at all, to be honest. I just, every time I look at it, I'm like, you know what? There's too much. It just feels too risky.
Yeah. It's definitely not the cleanest. That is for sure. All right, guys, let me know if the sound starts getting choppy again. It should be a little bit better based on your feedback. So just keep me posted and tag me in the chat there. BNTX, let's take a look at this one. They are, here we go, BNTX. All right, so this morning they are gapping up 5.76, 167,000 shares traded at the moment. Big day yesterday, recover and close this gap, very similar to what Piton did as well, just closing that gap. This is another one, guys, that I'm not a big fan of. I think you have to be very careful on this one. So I'm going to put it as a possible for now. We got a lot in the green, and they just keep coming. If you scroll down now, we're seeing a lot more names pop up here. SQ is on deck, up 5.4 this morning, 221,000 shares traded. I'm going to put it in as a possible for now. SKLZ, let's take a look at this one. Yeah.
SQ was earnings, by the way, so they did nice. Have some catalyst news.
That could be interesting. They have a couple of red days on here. Let's see if this can push them over into the green side. You see the action here after hours. So yeah, we'll take a look at this one. Not the easiest stock to trade, but let's see if earnings can get them going. Heading on down here, SKLZ. This one here, is up nice, 4.1. Now we know this one has been a little bit active. We look at the daily here. We've seen some good action from them in the past. We had them in our watch list in the past as well. Any specific news today, Norm, or sorry, Peter, or just regular action?
Yeah, I'll keep going with Norm there. That's good. They don't really. They had some earnings a couple of days ago. This might just be the hangover from that earnings report that they had on Wednesday, I think.
Okay. All right, we'll keep taking a look at this one again. It's got some good volume coming in just now. Let's see how this is going to look at in the next couple of minutes. DKNG, again, DKNG is one of these stocks, man. It's just difficult to trade. At least I find them that way. This morning, let's see if we can switch to it. Here we go. This morning they're up 4.1, 1 million shares traded. So they got the volume. They dropped quite a bit yesterday. Let's see how that traded. But again, they haven't been great. And I won't give them too much credit for this drop here because everything dropped yesterday. I mean, you could have picked anything. You could have picked PayPal. Megan was making fun of me because we took PayPal off our list and it traded very well, but everything dropped yesterday. So what's your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, they also an earnings play. In their case, great earnings, and they raised their full year guidance. So everything looks positive so far. We'll see what happens at the open.
All right, we'll put them as a possible. I know there's a few members that do like this stock, and I have traded before in the past and done okay with it, but not recently. So we'll put it on there. DKNG. Next, we have NKLA. This one is it's been a little more active recently in the last couple of days. Today, they are up 4.1. Pre-market action is not looking all that great at the moment, though. They did have a great pre-market action yesterday. If you guys remember this possible breakout here we talked about in the pre-market, but it failed. It didn't get going. Couldn't get past some of these levels here. And again, everything was kind of a short yesterday. So this morning, I don't see anything great on it. So I'm going to pass on it today, guys. If it gets better, you can throw it back out to me. Heading down to NNDM, this one popping up pretty good here, 3.2, 281,000 shares traded. It's been beat up quite a bit. Maybe a reversal opportunity here, maybe a possible. Not a big fan of this one also, but we'll see. mRNA closing the gap down yesterday pretty good. So we'll see if they can keep this energy. The pre-market, though, is looking fairly light this morning. So I'm going to skip on that for now. We can always come back to that. JMIA, this one here is 102. So volume is just getting in this stock at the moment. Let's come back to it. Let's give it a little bit to develop there. INO, we haven't seen this one in some time. They haven't done much. That's why, because they had this huge gap down. They were in play quite a bit in the past. If you guys remember, look at the action here. Then it's just kind of died down, had this gap down mid-April, and it hasn't done much since. I don't expect anything good out of this one. Just the numbers are looking good. It's up 2.9. The volume is not looking great, so we'll skip it. We looked at some of these already, heading on down. We got quite a bit here. I'm going to stop here. I'm going to look at Plug and PayPal because they were good yesterday, and then we'll go see what's on the downside this morning. Here is Plug. I do like Plug, guys. I like the way it trades. It is up 2.7, 189. I am going to add it to my list. It's one of these stocks that when it's trading well, it's very easy to take trades on. The price is nice, the liquidity is great, the volume is good, and also you get filled immediately. So I like this one. We'll keep it on here. And then let's look at PayPal. This one also had a nice drop yesterday, a bit of a recovery at support at 246. You can see here clearly that has been an area of support, and then now a possible breakout, but the volume is so light right now. So I'm gonna keep it on the fence. If it gets better, throw it back out to us. All right, we'll stop here. We have Twitter though. I want to see what Twitter's doing. Twitter. Twitter could be interesting. It had this big drop end of April. It's been just chopping around here, and today is up 2%. Not a great pre-market action, but I don't think Twitter's going to stay down there for long. That's just my personal opinion. Let's see what Twitter wants to do today. All right, let's see what's gapping down. CCXI, they are down 54%. Someone's getting fired. 1.8 million shares traded. This is not good, but it doesn't look like a stock that trades very well. Peter, what do you have on this? Anything good or, well, not good, anything bad that we should know about catalyst-wise?
No, this is a biotech, relatively low float, not super low float, but it was sort of up on the list. I think it was earlier this week, and John surprised me by trading it while remember, this is the one he was claiming that his dog Fred was actually trading. So
Oh yes, that's right.
so he made some money off the bottom of it. So no huge news. The typical, they seem to have a lot of lawsuit activity going against them, but that's typical for this sector. But I don't typically like trading this type of stock, so I haven't paid it much attention, to be honest.
Yeah, same here, guys. It's just, you got to be careful. The numbers look great, guys. If we just look at that, down 54%, 1.8 million shares traded. But if you look at everything else, it does not look good. So we'll skip it for now. AUPH, we've seen this one in the past, I believe. Maybe they're down 11.7. Pre-market activity is okay. Does not look like it trades very well. The volume seems a little bit lighter on some days here. Big gap down today. We'll see. Let's come back to it. I'm on the fence on that one. LEDS, 2.3 million shares flow, and this one here, guys, is down 9%, 1.1 million shares traded. I know yesterday they had a big day. We're talking about this in the YouTube chat, and one of the viewers there, one of the members, kind of mentioned, how do you trade something like this, right, without getting your face ripped off? And you got to be very careful, guys. This thing was moving yesterday pretty aggressively. Went from 5 all the way up to 14, almost 1350. And the best advice we can give you is, if you are going to trade something like this, a low flow stock, 2.37 million shares flow, you have to be careful in the size you take. It's all about the size, right? If you come in here and you take, if you take 1,000 shares, you got to be prepared. This thing can drop down here. See here where this level is, 535. You got to be ready. They can drop 90 cents on you in a matter of seconds, not minutes where you can get the chance to get out. No, we're talking about seconds. Somebody can drop a huge order and this thing can be down here. So if you think about it that way, yes, it's good to be able to see how far this can go, but you always got to look at the trade-offs. Okay, how much can I possibly lose if this thing goes the wrong way? If I get stuck on the wrong side of the play here, how much can I lose if it drops to the next technical level? And then based on that, obviously you guys know this, we preach this over and over in all our courses. Then you decide how many numbers of shares you're going to take. You could take 100 shares here. Be ready to lose $100, no problem. But the potential you can make if it goes to, if it takes off, you can make $1,000, $2,000, depending how far it goes. But you got to always think about that risk. So with that said, guys, this is a low flow today. This one here, it is very active. 1 million shares traded. Had a couple of green days, right? Here with some okay volume, especially yesterday. I'm not sure what we can expect out of it today. I'm going to add it as on the risky side this morning, the risky pile, because it does have great volume and it is kind of holding a little bit here. Let's see if we have some more juice on this left. Here's BYND this morning, guys. They are down 8.1, and we know who's at fault for this.
This is Norm's.
This is Norm.
Campaign. Yeah, this is the carnivore campaign has been working well, and beyond, they missed their numbers this quarter. So, it's Norm would be a happy guy if he was here today.
Yeah.
So
this is
it's not trading well pre-market though. Like, this used to be a player at one point, but it looks absolutely terrible to me. I have no interest in trading.
BYD is a real tough one to trade. Even when it was in play before, when they really started breaking out. If you guys remember, that was 2 years ago, 1 year ago. If time all mashed in together now, but even then, it was last year. It was no, it was the year before. It was 2019. It was just madness, guys, right? Even then, it was very, very difficult to trade. It hasn't gotten any better. So be careful with this one, guys. It is down 8%. It is in play. I will put it down as a possible. It is in play for sure. That's a big gap down for them. Also, you lost a lot of good support in here. So interesting what's going to do next, but let's just be careful on this one. All right, we will stop here. And I want to see, what do you guys have? Peter, what do you like on your end this morning?
Well, pretty much the things I like best are what you've already mentioned. In Peloton, again, I probably won't trade it, but I'll keep an eye on it. DKNG and then TLRY. Obviously, I'm always going to keep an eye on AMD, although it's been ugly the last few days. Let me tell you. So Maybe the blush is off the rose, and I need to find myself a new girlfriend. But we'll see what happens. But
Absolutely, absolutely. All right, let's take it here to our chat room, guys. Let's see what you guys like. Let's start with Fabio here. You're giving us Facebook, Nvidia, and BNTX. We did look at BNTX already, so I am going to just look at Facebook here this morning. Facebook right now popping up 1.5. Big move yesterday, possible continuation here. Facebook just has been so strong, guys. Just look at the last couple of months here. Breakout after breakout, creating new highs here. So interesting. They're very strong today. I definitely want to keep an eye on them. They're not the easiest stock to trade at times, but today they're looking rather interesting on this daily. Let me stop this from automatic scroll down. Okay, here we go. Where I left off. Go ahead.
Yeah, as they're mentioning in the chat, the other one, Apple. I've actually been trading Apple a fair amount this last week. It's been trading fairly nice, so I'll be keeping an eye on that as well. No news on it particularly, but the volume has been up the last little while. 1.6 million already this morning.
Yeah, no, Apple has been great. We've been talking about Apple too, how great it is, especially when the market is moving the way it is. Already 1.6, so we got something going on here. 830 starting to move really nice. How's the SPY? Anything going on with the SPY? All right, we're getting some good volume here as well. But yeah, Apple's definitely on deck, guys. One that you can always watch every single day. One more here, Nvidia. Also moving well this morning. We do have a little bit of a pop here. I don't like Nvidia as much, me personally, but I know I've seen some great trades from John and Mike out of this one. So you keep an eye on it, but and members as well. But I won't. I just don't like the way it moves at times. Sean is giving us PLTR today. Let's see here. PLTR up 1.7, 1.2 million shares traded. I do like the volume. This is like our stepchild here, or the middle child, whatever you want to call it. It can trade very well at times. And then it's just like, where did you come from? What is your DNA? Like, you just can't tell. So PLTR, we'll put it as a possible, guys. It's one of those things where it can be really good and just horrible. And usually they have a great pre-market action, and right at the bell, it's just like something flips and it just goes chop mode. So we'll see. We'll keep an eye on it. Looks good though. Any other stock, this right here looks amazing. The daily looks really good as well. Let's see if we can get something going out of PLTR today. Apple, we do have on deck. AMC played nice yesterday. Let's take a look. Yeah, a lot of stuff. See, but a lot of stuff played nice yesterday. So this is one of those things where, again, this was yesterday. Yeah, here it is. You know. Go ahead.
And AMC does have news. They had earnings, so they lost a little bit more money than expected. So, but I mean, I was looking at it pre-market, and it looked very. If you flip to a 1 minute chart, we're already seeing signs of like that institutional. That, right? That's the bad stuff. That's a stock it's all algorithm traded. You don't want to be in that when it's chopping within a 1 penny range. So I'm not putting AMC on my list.
Yeah, and again, just guys, yesterday, yes, it did move well towards the downside here. But again, we have everything moved this towards the downside. There were better stocks you can watch. So I won't give them that much credit, for yesterday's actions. All right, let's head on down here. BAC, Bank of America. What's going on with them? Wow, nice big drop this morning so far. I'm assuming earnings or something else. No, they had earnings, right? So no earnings. Yeah. Not sure what's happening here, but that's interesting, though. I do like to see the banks move like that right before the market. They know something we don't know.
I don't see any particular news on it, so I don't know what caused that.
Yeah, I'm gonna watch that one. That's interesting, guys. It's a big drop without having any catalyst out just yet. We'll see what that comes out to be. All right, so Apple, we looked at OCGN, guys. This one has been very, very active. We've been seeing this in the past quite a bit. Today's pre-market action also looking good. I'm going to remove some of these levels from yesterday. Great pre-market action, guys. I'm going to add this one here, OCGN. Do we have shares for short? We do. It is on short selling restrictions, but we do have shares for short. Entire financial sector is down. Yields dropped. Okay, yeah, that would do it. So that'll be fun to watch here. All right, we'll stop here, guys. Let me take just two from Paul here. Paul, you're giving us Uber, which has been very active the last couple of days, along with Lyft. Uber this morning, 1.5. Not seeing anything great at the moment. 277 up right now. So I'm going to skip on it for now. If it gets better, we can take a look at it later. X also has been very active, but the last couple of days, okay. Pre-market action is pretty flat right now. You do got some volume, But again, X has been, I think we're going to be watching X for a couple of days here to come, I think, in the future, because they've been moving very, very well. They're definitely back in play as a stock that can move a little bit better than most. Envis, we'll take a look at this one. Pretty flat right now, just trying to hold to this $14 mark there. That's a good sign for a possible pop in the future. But right now, it's just very light on volume, not really gapping up a whole lot. All right, guys, we're running out of time. Just going to take a few from YouTube, just read out some of the things here. ORGS, what is this? Orcs, 23% up this morning, 1.4, big red day yesterday after it gapped up, and then market open, it kind of sells down here. Let's see what the flow is on this one. It's not a low flow stock. Well, 21.4, so it's kind of borderline. Could be interesting. I'll put it down here next to LEDs, and we'll come back to that and see how that is looking a little bit later. Twitter we have on deck, guys. That looks good. AMD, we did not put that on there, but that one looks okay right now. Actually, it does look pretty good, actually. AMD. Whoops. I need to make a little space here. There we go. Good. Let's add AMD here. We'll come back to that one. I know you mentioned. I thought I added when you mentioned it, Peter, but I guess I didn't. AMD is okay. Twitter is good. We have that one. D-Dog, no volume, guys. Only 40,000 shares traded, so we'll skip on that for now. Bank of America, I do like. That's on there. Apple is on there. Jarno is giving us Neo. Neo is moving. Yeah, Neo is moving nice right now. 664,000, up 1%. Was down about 1%. Now getting into the green here this morning. I'm going to add Neo because I know I got some stuff down here in the secondary list that looks pretty bad. That Neo probably can take their spot. All right, heading down. What else do we have, guys? QQQ. What else? Apple is good. OCGM. We do have Envis. We do have Etsy. I don't like the way it trades. Again, big gap down yesterday. How did it do yesterday? Let's see here. Yeah, well, it sold off. But again, just look at this sell-off, guys. This is not clean trading. You see how these candles are forming? Again, every candle kind of overlapping the previous candle. Now, I know it's in a downtrend, but this is not a clean downtrend. I mean, you're going to get stopped out so many times as it pulls back, overlapping the previous candle, right? This is the problem with this. You know, when you had like a PayPal, that Megan traded amazing yesterday, right? See the continuation here. That's beautiful. You had I believe, what's the other one? OCGN, Piton, Plug. Look at the continuation here. That's nice. Very, very nice. There's no up and down and overlapping of the candle. That can be frustrating, and it'll just stop you out every single time. It's just, that's the problem with that stock, with Etsy, the way it traded yesterday. So with that said, let's go over to our community announcements. We'll come back and fine tune this list, guys.
Well, everybody, we've made it through another busy and productive week here at Bear Bull Traders. So all our activities for this week are over, at least those that are after market hours. But next week, we got stuff to look forward to. So next week on Tuesday, we'll start with, Monday, don't forget, for any new traders, we always have the onboarding session with Carlos. We will talk about that on Monday. But on Tuesday, we have Eamon presenting his parabolic reversals, part 2 of this webinar. So because it's Eamon, it's always a little earlier than usual. So 5 o'clock, so it's an hour after market close, that will be Eamon in the webinar room. Then on our psychology series, next week we get to look forward to No, that was this week. Next week, this week we did have the Monkey Mind. I thought we already did that one, and we did. But next week we have our very own Mike. Mike is going to be presenting handling emotions of trading, which, you know, you'd think you have it down if you're in sim. Pay close attention to this, because going live is never quite what you expect it to be. It's always more challenging than you'd hope. So he's going to talk about that and how you can manage that. That's at 8 o'clock next Wednesday, May the 12th. Every day here in the room, we have things that go on, including our trade of the day. If you want to submit your trade, it could be any trade sort of within the last 24 hours for trade of the day. It should be a live trade, so nothing in sim. It should be live money. Post it on Twitter with the tag at Bear Bull Traders, at Mike B_BBT, and at Norm BBT. They will be evaluating it. Today, they're on the road. Norm is busy with family stuff, and Mike is in Austin. but he will get to it and take a look at it. If you use the hashtags that are listed here so they can find it, they will assess your trade. It also gets entered for the trade of the week, and all of our trade of the week winners have bragging rights and the ability to give us a nice video about their trade and about their trading style. So that's something that we love to see, because we got so many fantastic traders and some great trades going on. MB, you're asking about mentoring. That's a good item that we don't have on our list here, but our mentoring, Andrew's introducing mentoring for all of our elite members that will start next Thursday. So we did not do it this week because he was on the road. It'll be starting next Thursday, and that's during market hours at 11 a.m. He'll do that in our webinar room. So yeah, that's a good new feature and an extra value that we're adding, always increasing the value you get from Bear Bull here. If you want to join us and be able to take advantage of that value, you can join on either an interim basis or maybe as an elite member. On an interim basis, we have a test drive. You can use the code PREMARKET24 to get our 1 week trial for $24. Now that gives you access to the trade room and our introductory course. It gives a feel for what the room's like and how, what you can expect here. If you want access to all of our courses, then we'd ask you join as an elite member. We know the value is there. You get a ton out of it, and it's a fantastic deal for what you get. But you get access to everything with your elite membership. There's no extras to pay once you become an elite member. All right, with that, we've got a lot of levels to set. There's a lot of earnings that have happened, so let's get to that. We've got some IPOs that are happening today. It's Friday, which means we always have IPOs, and we will then lead into the market open. Back to you, Carlos.
Yep, just one more thing, guys. We also have the memorial sale 40% off, so make sure you take advantage of that. Right on our main website, you can go there and have that available for you. So make sure you do that. And one more slide that Norm added here, guys, is might still not be too late to sign up for the Austin meetup. That is today at 5:30 p.m. So again, you do not have to be a member to attend. Bring a trading buddy that loves trading and wants to probably learn more about it, and go have some fun with the guys. We have some pictures, actually. We have here is,
and it is never too late. Please let us know so we can let the venue know about the numbers. But you know what? Andrew buys the drinks. It's a great conversation and a great opportunity. I love Andrew's shirt. I don't know what's going on there, but it's pretty awesome. So
yes, it is. Yes, it is. So that is Andrew there. You can tell he got a haircut from coming down from the mountains there. And there's not Peter, there's Mike as well. And here we have the Dr. Katz. Sorry?
Could those beers be any taller?
I know, right? Let's go back. that is
Dr. Katz and his wife, I presume. I've never met his wife, but
yep. So again, guys, go have a good time. If you're in the area, you can join them for the meetup. Absolutely, go do that, and it'll be a whole lot of fun, I am sure. All right, guys, let's get to it. Let's do some levels here. So we have quite a bit. I'm going to first come in here and chop this thing up a little bit, especially our secondary list. So let's start here with NEO. NEO this morning, I like the way NEO looks. Again, it's been going from red to green, now coming back down to test its previous day close. We'll keep an eye on that. AMD this morning looking okay as well. Very active so far since 8:30. Let's hope that continues. Great volume on it as well. Bank of America, again, moving rather well in the pre-market today. So we'll keep an eye on that. So it's a good secondary. PLTR, I think, is also good. Okay, I got to take some stuff off. Everything is looking okay right now. Twitter, you know what? Twitter looks okay. I might take this one off. Let's get rid of this one. I think Twitter will be fun in the next coming weeks to keep an eye on. SQ, big pop here. Now, the only reason, guys, I'm taking the SQ off is because I'm not a big fan of trading it. I think it trades a little bit off for me, but there are some people that are great, like I know Brian. Brian is a good trader of SQ, and many of you guys here in the chat room. But I'm going to take it off for that. It is definitely in play, guys. Up 5.1, 334,000 shares traded. So I'll remove it based on my own personal criteria there. POTR is, again, this is a hit or miss. We'll leave it there for now. BNTX, this is all over the place pre-market wise. Yes, it's putting some really good candles in here on the daily. Had a decent day yesterday. But again, I think overall, even with this decent day, the way they ended it here and closed this gap nicely, it doesn't look like it was a really good overall type intraday trading stock. Look at the volume coming in the first candle. After that, it does drop. So that makes it a little bit harder to read the price action. I mean, you're trading every 5 minutes, 200,000 shares. So it's not a whole lot. We want to see a little more than that. So I'm going to take that one off. The spread also a little funky at times. Right now we have a 90-cent spread. So let's get rid of that. TLRY is okay for now. DKNG looks good. NNDM, I'm going to remove this one. Yeah, I'll get rid of this one. For now, let's see, JMIA also, this pre-market action did not get any better, so I don't expect anything great out of this one. But if you guys have it on your end, as usual, call it out. We saw what happened with Jonathan, called out ANTX, I believe it was, yes, 2 days ago. We took great advantage of that one. It moved very well. So if you see something, say something there. AUPH, this one, not looking good. I like the gap down. I like the fact we lost this level at 12, but it just doesn't look too good right now pre-market wise. It's got great volume, 910. I love the gap down, but again, just not great. Maybe we'll leave it as a possible. Let's let it hang out there for a little bit. We can come look at it again later. BYND, it is in play, guys, down 9%. I want to remove it, but you know what? Let's leave it there. We can do a second pass if we have time towards the end here. Let's do levels, guys. Roku starting here, high of the pre-market, definitely in play this morning, looking good. 441,000 shares, up 11%. 317 is your high of your pre-market. That seems to also be a level that we have played with around in the past, as you can see right over here. Great area of support and resistance there. Towards the bottom, low of the pre-market sitting at 305.53. So we'll throw a level there. Below that, guys, plenty of levels from the highs and lows. Previous day close even further down, and also you have the low from yesterday all the way down at 270. Look at the range on this, going from 272 all the way to almost 320 today. So very nice pop there if you were able to catch that bottom. Here we have, I'm going to mark this level 293. We got a couple of days showing support here. That could be a good support if it does drop. But right now, looking rather strong, heading the other direction. Towards the top, above the pre-market highs, 317. We do have a couple of levels here. I like this one over here. A lot of touches at a 339. 340 area. You can see here support, resistance, more support happening here. So around that area, you're looking pretty good. You also got a moving average coming in the area as well, of that 340 mark. Heading down to Piton this morning, again, just very choppy price action right now, guys, on Piton. We'll do levels for it. Let's see if this thing wants to break out after earnings last night. 89.93 is the high of the pre-market. The low of the pre-market sitting down at a 87.07. That has been tested a couple of times here, as you can see on the chart. But slightly above that, we do have a level 92.73 above your pre-market high. Also moving average coming in towards that area. And then above that, you have the highs from 2 days ago. Now towards the bottom, guys, I don't think you need to add anything else. Everything else is covered for you. Below that pre-market low, you do have your highs from the last 2 trading days, the low from 2 days ago, previous day close. Again, just tons of levels there. It's got you pretty much covered. SKLZ, this one has potential, guys, but doesn't look too great right now. High of the pre-market, 16.17. We're kind of bottoming down here a little bit, trying to find some support. We did bounce yesterday. We closed pretty much flat yesterday. I mean, there's not even a body on this candle, so just pretty much flat in here. So let's see if this thing wants to change direction. In pre-market, we are getting some good volume after 8:30, 615,000 shares traded, so that could be interesting. Towards the top, we're looking at some levels here. This one is a minor level. It's not great. You only have 1 day really touching this here at 1724. A better level with more weight on it would be this one, 1778. A couple of more days really testing that 1778 there. So I'll leave it there. I think this one, guys, is really more of a possible. We'll come back to it. Here is plug. So plug again going up pretty nice now, 1.4. It can trade very well, but it's not looking all that clean. This can also be a bit of a possible here. 23.19 is the high of the pre-market. Wait, hold on. Let's remove all these levels. Yeah, there we go. Let's clean that up a little bit. That looks better. 23.19. We have the low of the pre-market right now, slightly lower than the previous day close, sitting at 22.44. But the previous day close would be the more important level there to be on the lookout for. Below that, the low from yesterday. And then towards the top, the highs and lows from the last 2 trading days. So Looking okay in the pre-market. I hope it can get a little bit better. I have it here because I know this stock can trade very well and very clean. Facebook is looking, again, very strong this morning, guys. High of the pre-market, 326.44. Above that, is this our all-time highs, right? 331. I want to say yes. I believe it is. Yeah, so it's a couple of days ago, we did hit that all-time highs on Facebook there. Someone correct me if I'm wrong. So that's the all-time high, 331.88. We do have that level there. And then above here, we have this one. Not so much weight on this, guys, because, again, you only have really a couple of days touching on these levels here. So not so much weight. So 328 on that also. Now, towards the bottom, guys, highs and lows from the last 2 trading days got you covered on Facebook. Here is Apple, high of the pre-market, 131.94. Again, good pre-market action right now. 2.2 million shares traded, guys, up 1.3. So Apple is looking very, very decent. Great area of resistance right over here, guys. This is a good level, 135.22. You can see the struggle getting above, trying to get above that. The minute we did, we got there pretty well. You guys remember this day? I think we all traded it. It did become a great, great short. Nice rejection towards the bottom. Then the highs and lows towards the bottom of the last 2 trading days got you covered. Previous day close. I don't think you need to add anything else. Now in here, guys, there's a tight consolidation levels. You got the big one here, which is from 131, which is your high of your pre-market, right? Trying to get above that, obviously. That has been a great area of support. You see that right on there? But then in the middle of that, and also this 135, these are your 2 big levels. You want to put a lot of weight on that. Obviously, we're seeing that reaction now. If you put a level right on here, you're going to get 133.44. Great area as well. You got a lot of support and resistance around these 3 levels. So let's see if Apple can pierce back up into that range. OCGN, guys, again, has also been very active. They're down nicely today, 13.5. So not looking too good this morning. Low of the pre-market, 810. Towards the bottom, we got a great area of resistance right over here at 650. And I think that's pretty much it right now. We got another level right here of support, of resistance as well, 740. So I want to mark that down also towards the bottom. A lot of touches on there. So, all right, that looks good. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1 too many. And we are definitely running out of time this Friday morning. So let's go ahead straight into our moderators lineup. So let's bring this in. All right, here we go. Resize a couple of things so it makes sense when you guys look at this. And let's bring this right over here. There we go. So here it is, moderators lineup. We have Peter's IPOs today. Well, I'll let you read this out. Peter, I think you're on mute.
I am. Sorry about that. We've got a few IPOs today with ANEB, BWMN, that's going to be hard to say, WDH, and TALS. So we'll see. We haven't had good luck with our IPOs of late, but hopefully one or more of these gives us some opportunity.
Yep, and I see your watch list here. AMD, Apple, DKNG, secondary list TRY, BAC, OCGN, and LEDs there as well. So pretty good. Tiffany's looking at Apple, Roku, DKNG, BAC, and Tesla. Those last 2 as her secondary. Dima is looking at SKLZ, Plug, Neo, and Apple. Did we look at Neo? I thought we had Neo on deck. Mike, Facebook, Roku, and Brian is looking at SQ. I told you guys, SQ, he's a good trader of that stock. Piton, Apple, BYND, and the scanners as well. So pretty good lineup for this Friday. Who's that skip over?
There. Let's not
Where's Eamon? Oh, here's Eamon. I did skip over Eamon. Look at that. You know why? Because he's not liking much today. I didn't actually read that. Watch list, Zoom, X, Oracle, and he's also secondary list, Baba, XPEF, and MVIS this morning. So excellent, guys. All right, so we're pretty much set, guys. Remember, today is the meetup at 5:30 in Austin, Texas. The link is out there, so still have time to RSVP, but you got to do it very, very, very soon so we can give the venue a heads up. But we would love to have you if you're in the area. You do not have to be a member, so remember that. The guys will be waiting down there for you. You got Mike down there. You got Andrew. I believe Jared is going down there. Who else? Peter, is heading down there? Are the moderators?
Yeah, I think it's just Mike and Jared that I'm aware of. Oh, and John. That's right. John was jumping on a plane and heading down.
Oh, yes. So, guys, definitely join for that. with that said, happy Friday. Take care. Trade safe over on YouTube. Thank you so much, guys, for being with us this entire week. If you're new, consider subscribing. Make sure you hit that thumbs up. It really helps us grow this channel. We appreciate that. Help us grow this community. So with that said, trade safe. For us in the room here, we're going to continue. Brian is up next with I'm not sure if Andrew's going to be trading or maybe Thor or another moderator is going to join him, but he's going to go over his watch list, what he likes this morning. Andrew is trading. Yes, Andrew's in the chat room. There he is. He's just responded.
Awesome.
So we're looking forward to that. So guys, trade safe. Remember, it's the weekend. You want to trade, be disciplined, follow your rules, do not be a hero. And go into the weekend with family and friends, not thinking about trading. That is very, very important. That mental relaxation of not thinking about trading is important, right? Trading could be at times a beast, and it can really throw you off your game and also your personal game as well. So very important to have that mindset of a rest throughout the weekend. So take care, Peter. Thank you for covering us for Norm this morning.
No problem.
And,
my pleasure. And as Carlos said, guys, trade safe today. And I am jealous of everybody going to that meetup in Austin. So I want to see lots of pictures on social media. Let's get them up there so I could feel like I was part of it, even if I'll have to drink alone. So
absolutely, guys. Take care, guys.